This is John Black, super chemist. I don't know, I think this is part 6. Are trans people actually trans? Although I'm not sure if it's part 6. I was talking in the last, whatever, in 60 years that I've been alive, or whatever it's been, I, I never hear about trans people just killing themselves. And they're like killing themselves by millions. Just like the blacks, you know what I mean? If they're killing them by millions, how come we only hear about one a year? And it's always some crazy gang rapist pedophile who's murdered and raped a bunch of people and pedophiled a bunch of kids. There's so many black people getting killed by. Why don't you pick one of the ones that are good black people? Why do you always pick the worstest black person that could actually possibly even exist? They're so horrible. Why do you jump up and joy, and burn down cities for these horrible, horrible people? I mean, if you really believe that they're murdering millions of them every day, why don't you just why is it never a good person? Are all the millions of black people that they kill every day, are they all evil like this? Yeah. But yeah, where are all these trans people that are killing themselves left and right? To be a trans woman or man, you're like a unicorn. You know what I mean? You are not. You're not a horse. Like, you're not plentiful. You're very, very unique. All right. They all kill themselves. No, and only a very. So first of all, you're a unicorn, right? By being trans, right? Then only a small fraction of them is children or whatever. 18 and under that actually kill themselves. That's very that. So it's not only they're talking about a unicorn, they're talking about a rare type of a unicorn. Yeah. Where are these? Why aren't they on? You see what they do to the black and white thing every time something happens with a white and a black person, they just blame it on white people and say it's racism. Where are all the examples of these trans people killing themselves? I never see them. Do you ever see any? They're getting murdered. I mean, they're killing themselves by the millions, and they're so concerned about it that our whole world has been turned upside down, but they never give us one example. Not even one. Not even one. Can you name one example? Why? I mean, you don't turn up the whole world, the whole society. We just pick it up and throw it on the ground, basically. That everything has to be about trans, because they're so oppressed. But we don't get one example of these murdered hundreds of millions of trans people that are killing themselves. The same way with the black guy that gets murdered by the white cop. If there's so many of them, why do they only show us this crap fucking black dude that they killed once a year, or once every couple of years or whatever? And then it turns out that like the last black guy, they didn't even kill him. They just said the cops killed him. It was because he was all tied up and shit. He died, but it didn't come out like until a year later, 6 months later. By then, everyone had their beliefs. So but they're creating trans people for their woke religion cult to make us weak, right? It makes us weak with all these trans people. They're sterilizing them. They're breaking up the family unit, and they're creating pathways for pedophiles to come in and pretend that they are trans. Fetishists who get sexually aroused like drag queens. A drag queen is a cross-dresser, is a transvestite. They do it, they get sexual pleasure. That's why, what makes a drag queen different from a cross-dresser is a drag queen is a cross-dresser that dances, is also a stripper. Okay, that's the only difference. Okay, but it's all to degrade society. See, if everyone's trans, how are you going to have families? How are you going to... First of all, you're sterilizing yourself, so you're not going to have a family there. It seems to me like they're just trying to... All the gay people trying to sterilize them and make sure that they don't reproduce. Get rid of that gay gene, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'm actually at the end here. Thank God. One more page. And also, did anyone ever think... because this is true. most male to female trans people would better, they'd be better off to do nothing major to change their appearance and just live as a woman at home. You know what I mean? Same way with a 5-foot woman that wants to be a trans man. And you're very tiny, very, you're not even like a thick 5-foot, person. You're 5 foot and you're like anorexically small. Yeah, you might be better off just not doing anything other than dressing like a boy. You know what I mean? Yeah, I want you to think about it. I would rather be a woman, that had functioning genitalia where I could have sex and have orgasms, than to stay a man and have no penis, no sexual gratification. Like I'd have to just no sex ever again. Never want it, never can feel it. Yeah, I'd rather be a woman with a working vagina. I'll tell you that right now, than a man with no penis. Yeah, if you're 6'5", okay, and you're built like a linebacker, right? Maybe it would be better that if they had to live both lives. I think at the end of both lives, they'd be like, yeah, the life where I didn't try to change into a woman was a lot better. You know what I mean? Because when you're walking around as a football player and you're 6'5", you're I mean, who's going to want to even hang out with you, man? And do you want to be that? Like, I mean, it might be better to just be, without the changes. You know what I mean? See, when you do these things, you get on puberty blockers. That's it. First of all, you are sterilized, okay? And you're a child, so you're sterilized. A child shouldn't be making decisions about whether they should sterilize themselves. That's for sure. That's something that you might maybe change your mind on. And the other thing is that if you change your mind, that your genitalia isn't going to grow. Even if you stay on the hormones, right, all your life, you're stuck on them all your life. First of all, they're going to make you die earlier. You know what I mean? So even all that though, I could see someone doing, but the sex change with your vagina thing, making a fake vagina, that's totally ridiculous. You should never do that. Don't do that. You're not going to have any sex. Does you understand that? And you still won't have a vagina. But anyways, yeah, some of these people would probably be more happy if they, this 5-foot woman who wants to be a man. I think that she would be happier if she just didn't do any, or maybe, just went around being butch. You know what I mean? And you don't have all these medical problems that you have. You know what I mean? Anyways, and you can say, well, I want to be a man or I want to be a woman, right? You still put on female clothes or male clothes. You don't have to take these hormones or these whatevers to do it. They think that these hormones are it's going to change your body and make it more whatever, female or more male. And so some adults might want to do it. Okay, no kid should get that choice, but an adult might want to do it. But the thing is if you're not telling them the truth, because they're acting like there's no problems with this stuff. I mean, you chop off your dick and make it into a vagina, you're going to have to do something. They're always talking about dilation or something. I guess they got to put something in the hole to keep it open. They got to do that like every day. And at the beginning, it's like 3 times a day, 6 times a day. And leave it in there so that that hole doesn't, holes you cut yourself, it's going to want to close up, right? And that's what you're making. You're not making a vagina. And to take that, and also to take that away from your significant other, whoever you marry or get with, they can never give you an orgasm? Never, no. You don't give a crap, huh? Okay. Well, anyways, inclusion. Okay, if it is about uniting us, then why is it all about dividing us into separate boxes? Why am I so stupid? Because I say they're calling it inclusion, but they're putting us in different boxes, and that is not the definition of inclusion. That's literally the opposite of inclusion. That's called division. And everyone looks at me like I'm retarded. Real inclusion is, they would say we are all one race. The U.S. American race, which is true. If you look up race, the definition of race, there's two definitions. One is the one that's been around for thousands of years, says that it's based on being in the same country, the same region, the same government, the same language. That makes you a race. This race about skin color that racists use, that just came, that's actually recently, last couple hundred years or whatever. That definition. But we are all in one box, but no one but me wants to admit it. No one else but me wants to be in one box. But I'm the racist person. Racist because I want us all to be in one box? Whatever. And I want you to, not out of time here. I want you to think about this. It's kind of off of the subject. But it kind of is, because they always try to make inclusion sound like it's inclusion. Their inclusion is not inclusion. It never is. It never ever is. Just like the World Bank, they want us all, the 100-year plan that these elites have, right? These royals that all have the same royal bloodline that have been presidents and vice presidents our entire existence. George Washington was one of them. George Bush and Obama. They're all related. Every last goddamn president almost. All with the same royal bloodline, but it's just a coinky-dink. But anyways, yeah. Their 100-year plan, they want to put RFID chips in our skin, in our hands, in our necks, whatever. And they're going to say that it's because of inclusion. Because they're doing it right now. Instead of a chip, though, they have face recognition in these third world countries. And if you ain't on the chip, right, the face recognition thing, then you can't get your whatever they're giving the free to the third world country. You know what I mean? Food, medical supplies, doctors. The only way you can get them now in third world countries, not all of them, they're just starting it now. There's only a few third world countries that they, 5 or 6, that they started this face recognition where you cannot get 1 penny from our government unless your whole country's on this chip. It's not a chip yet. It's just face recognition. The same thing, though, right? Because if you protest, if you don't like what they have to say, you talk bad about them, they'll just turn off your face recognition. They'll go in and say, oh, this guy doesn't deserve any food from us, no medical supplies from us, right? The reality is, so the RFID chips are not about inclusion. It's not about helping the poor so that they can get their welfare. No, it's a way to include. It's not a way to help and include poor people. The reality is, it's a machine or a system set up so they can exclude you, right? Anyone from talking about them or protesting against them, all they have to do is flip off a switch with this RFID chip or the face recognition thing, just like China does. Flip a switch. You don't have enough morality for us, so we're going to turn off your chip. And then what? You can't buy food. You can't get a job, right? Because you're not on the chip. You can't pay your rent. You can't get on a bus and pay for that. You can't get a cab. You can't do anything. So it's to exclude the poor, really. It's to exclude us. Okay? It's not to help us. It's never to help the poor. Okay? It's always to hurt the poor. And you middle-class pieces of garbage always gobble it up. Oh, we're going to help the poor? I know for a fact that every time they say they're going to help the poor, they really screw the poor over. But I'm going to gobble it up again Yeah, let's help the poor. Let's help the poor. You middle class pieces of garbage.